You're smart. You know that influencers are not all they appear to be on camera. Some of us have secrets. Some of us have dark secrets that we don't want to get out. But I'd like to share my darkest with you now. I've been watching reality TV. I'm knee deep into this show called Traitors, and I'm addicted to it, and I want to tell you all about it because, this season was something else. And there's a reason I think you'll be into this. Now, I know most of my fans are manly men with bulging biceps that are up all night partying with the world's most beautiful women on the world's most expensive yachts, but I think most of you are gamers. And this show is a classic game turned into a reality show. That's why I think you're gonna love it. You know the party game Mafia? Yeah, that one. The one where you go to your friend's house and everyone sits in a room and closes their eyes, and then the people that are the mafia open their eyes and silently kill someone. Then everyone opens their eyes and they argue over who the mafia is. And there's usually one person playing that didn't realize what they were getting dragged to and they're just like super awkward and embarrassed. Yeah, that person was usually me. The TV show is a souped up version of that where they're all put in a castle and they are doing challenges during the day to increase the prize pot of money. And then at the end of the season, if the faithfuls are all that are left standing, they split the prize money. But if there's one person that's a traitor left in the cast, they win the prize money all to themselves. It's freaking juicytv.com, buddy. It's so good. The first thing I loved, the host. It's a longtime actor. He was in GoldenEye. He's in Schmigadoon on Apple TV. His name is Alan Cummings. What I love about him is how devoted he is to the character. He gives it a theatrical air. Here, I'll show you what his vibe is, okay? I'm Alan Cummings, and today in my castle, we'll be finding out which of you are the faithfuls and which are the traitors. I know this is hard to believe, but that was not actually Alan Cummings. That was me pretending to be Alan Cummings. But he's even better than my performance, I swear to God. Let's dive into my favorite players of the season. It started off with 25, right? But I had 3 top favorites, easy. John, Peter, and before I get to the third, the best one, I want to dive into John and Peter for a minute. I love John. He's like this kind of old-timey, I think he's a politician in England, but he just gave the best speeches. There's one point where this girl Parvati was getting blamed for being a traitor. Parvati, I know it's all fun and games for you, but I know you're a bloodthirsty betrayal mistress of the night, and I'll have nothing to do with you. It was so good. So I loved him for the speeches. Peter, he's kind of like the Chris Pratt of the group. Good-looking guy, handsome fella. You might know him from The Bachelor. I know him from my dreams at night. But the reason he's one of my top 3 players is, dude, he was so good at strategy and game. He was a faithful throughout the entire show. But he was so good about laying traps and kind of doing strategies with other players to figure out who the traitors were, which is an incredibly hard thing to do, right? Because you got these people that are just lying to you next to people that are telling the truth, and there's no evidence, really. I am absolutely certain, without a doubt, if Peter was not on this show, no one would have caught any of the traitors. It would have been impossible. Here's another thing about Peter, which was badass. Halfway through the series, the traitors tried to secretly recruit him to become a traitor because he was such a loudmouth and a sound piece for the good guys that were like, we either need to take him out or bring him onto our side and just screw with everybody. And Peter turned it down. He's like, nah, I'm a faithful to the end. Now, what I thought was extra badass and no one really thought about was when they did the reunion episode, Peter let out some information that I thought was just pfft. This dude is playing on another level. We need all players like this the next season because this is unreal, right? In the reunion, he goes, I didn't want to take the traitor letter and become a traitor because I feared if I did, the traitors would just betray me the next day, out me, and have everyone vote me off, using that to win confidence with everyone that they themselves are not traitors. And I'm like, this guy is thinking about this from every angle. I freaking love this dude. Bring back The Bachelor. I will marry him, right? Now, my third favorite player, without a doubt, gave good speeches, gave good camera. You know, I love a girl that gives good camera. You know, Phaedra. Phaedra was just this no-nonsense. You ever watch the show Empire? She had that kind of vibe. Like, she could run the race with Cookie, man. Go toe-to-toe with her. Every time someone called her out at the round table, she just went straight into them, railed them hard. Like when Peter went at her in the round table, there's this one moment where Phaedra goes, Peter, this is not the Bachelor, okay? I do not have to kiss your ass to win this game. It was the fucking best. Now, the winners kind of blew my mind. I want to get to them in a second. That's my favorite part. But the last thing I want to talk about first, and I think we'll talk about this on our podcast, which we do over on our Patreon if you want to have a listen. In the reunion episode, there were a couple people that got super pissed, super mad at other players in the game. And there was this kind of division. There was like people that were like, why are you so mad? It's a game. But the people that were mad were like livid. It was almost if like they hit them with their car or something and they were still pissed about it. And the three people that did this were MJ, Phaedra, and Johnny Bananas. And I just don't get that, man. I think they kind of figured it out in the reunion. It's that the people that weren't mad came from a history of being on competition shows and they realized it was a game. Versus the people that were pissed were folks that had never been on a contest show before and had experience in reality TV, but they were like dating shows or housewives shows. And so when they were betrayed, they're like, how could you do that to me? I thought we had something. So I'm just like, dude, you got to relax. It's a game. If you were playing Monopoly, would you take it to the grave? If you were my sister, you would. But anyone else, like, get your head on. Now let's talk about the ending. Who won? This was the juiciest competition ending I've ever seen in my life. And I'm including the time I lost with the Pinewood Car Derby at the frickin' Boy Scouts when I was a kid with my snot rocket. I thought that car was going to win. It was black. It had green snot dripping down the back. It said snot rocket on the side. As you can imagine, my dad pretended to be proud. If you haven't seen the finale, let me set the scene. It was Kate, who was the traitor. And then you had CT and Trishelle, who were faithfuls. They had a suspicion she was a traitor, but they weren't sure. And then CT and Trishelle were friends for over 30 years, so they really knew each other and said they were going to take each other to the end of the game. And the last player was MJ, who, while she was a faithful, she didn't have the long history with these two. So the four of them are all standing around a fire, and they will leave this fire knowing who won the $200,000. So Alan Cummings says, players, if you believe there are no traitors among you, throw a green smoke pouch into the fire. But if you believe there's even but one traitor, throw red. Kate throws green. She goes, yeah, I just believe everyone's a faithful. CT throws red. Trishelle throws red. MJ throws red. And like, Kate screwed up so big here. I can't believe they did not talk about this on the reunion. Because someone was murdered the night before, and the only way that was possible is if there's still a traitor in the group. So for Kate to just blindly miss that, she basically implicated herself saying she was a traitor without even realizing it. And I can't believe they missed this even on the finale recap reunion show. Like, no one mentioned that. She shot herself in the foot. So they get rid of Kate, right? And Alan says again, players, if you believe it's only faithful standing among you, vote green. If you believe there's but one traitor, vote red. So you got CT and Trishelle, lifelong friends, and MJ, a faithful, but not part of the clique, right? MJ throws first. She throws green. Trishelle throws second. She throws red. I'm like, oh, shit. Are they doing what I think they're doing? CT throws third. He throws red. I was up out of my seat. You know my reaction? You know when you're a tiny kid and your dad and your uncle are watching the Super Bowl and they get up out of their couch to be like, come on, Patriots, we need this. Get the touchdown. Get the touchdown. I remember sitting there watching this happen and be like, what kind of idiot gets up to yell at the TV like that? I do, because that's what I did this season of the Traitors finale. I was up yelling and screaming, because in my head, I'm like, oh my God, they've coordinated this. Because they're lifelong friends, they're going to vote off MJ and keep the money for the two of them, right? So Alan Cummings says, players, cast your votes. CT votes off MJ. MJ is freaking out. She's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Am I getting screwed? You can tell in her head. She's piecing this all together. Lifelong friends, they're kicking me out. She doesn't know who to vote for. Votes for Trishelle. Then Trishelle, you're like, she's doing it too. She's part of the plan. She's going to vote off M. She votes off CT. What happened was before it got caked off, she seed sows of doubt into all the players' minds, and they weren't sure if they could trust each other. And then CT is standing there like, Trishelle, what are you doing? Why would you vote me off? We're friends. So they vote again, right? CT votes MJ. MJ votes Trishelle again. She says, I know we're all faithfuls. I don't know why we're doing this. And it gets to the point where you're like, what is Trishelle going to do? What is she going to do? Who's going to win this? She kicks off MJ, dude. MJ was so pissed. She's like, I hope you two are happy with each other. And she storms off into the castle. So yeah, CT and frickin' Trishelle won. Now, my wife has a theory about this, and I'm curious if you agree with her, because this is mastermind level stuff right here. She believes that CT and Trishelle were planning that strategy all along, that if it got down to the two of them, they'd get rid of anyone else and keep the money for themselves. Now, I'm kind of thinking CT and Trishelle knew for certain that those two were faithfuls. They didn't know MJ that well, right? And so to even chance at all, is she a traitor or is she a faithful? Like, I'm just going to get rid of her because I'm not sure. I need to win. I think I'm kind of siding with that side of it. That's where I'm at. But dude, MJ was pissed. I'm all hopped up on adrenaline from watching the show, so I wanted to share that excitement with you wherever you're at. And I'm kind of curious. I shared my thoughts on the Traitors. What are yours?